All right, you ready to get cheesy? I am too. It's Cookbook Corner, and today we're talking The Cheese Primer by Steven Jenkins. It's a good one, guys. Hang on to your seats. Hey guys, it's Chef Andrea, and it's Friday, so that must mean it's Cookbook Corner. And today we are talking about a topic that is so important to me, that I love so much, that I'm actually going to have to cover 2 cookbooks to get us there. So it's Cookbook Corner. We're talking about cookbooks, but the theme of the cookbook is cheese. What we're talking about is cheese, so there's a lot to talk about. Let's talk about the book first and foremost. It is The Cheese Primer by Steven Jenkins, and here we go. This guy is going to become, if you are a cheese lover, if you are ready to deep dive into cheeses, if you are ready to start buying amazing cheeses instead of so-so cheeses, if you're ready to just learn more about good quality cheeses, this thing needs to be in your right hand at all times. It is your cheese Bible. So The Cheese Primer by Steven Jenkins. This came out in 1996. I've had a copy of it. I know for sure I've had a copy of it since 2002. I'm going to say, and this is not my first copy. My first copy is just blown to pieces, literally so many marks and stains, and you think this is a lot of flags. It's just flagged up beyond belief. But what I will say very quickly on Cookbook Corner is thank you, Steven Jenkins, for teaching me about really good quality cheeses. This is really the beginning of how I started to understand the difference between sort of mass-produced sub-quality cheeses and really good small production cheeses. I do, at the time, let's assume we're talking 2002, we'd had no access where I am here to a really high-end quality cheese selection anywhere. It just didn't exist. And so you were going to have to do a home study if you wanted this to happen in your life. And I was starting out a private chef and catering career, and putting together really quality cheese platters was going to be a big part of that program. So I needed to learn. So Cheese Primer is what got me there. At the time, I remember doing a lot of I ordered a lot of cheeses in, but I also, at the time, my family was still in Atlanta. And so I would get up to Atlanta for a long weekend and do some cheese shopping while I was up there. Good old DeKalb Farmers Market. Hey, y'all, if you are from Georgia, or like if you are from states that border Georgia, you know about the DeKalb Farmers Market. And we had many fond memories doing some hardcore cheese shopping there. But ultimately, what ended up happening is that I got a cheese case into this space. I opened here in 2007 and put an actual cheese case out and would sell cheeses for retail. The truth is I needed them for my catering business and could use them in all of my cooking classes. So why not get in enough to sell you a pound here or there also? And we had the cheese case out there for probably the first, I'm going to say 6 years that we were open. It might have been 8, but I'm kind of vague. I really would have to look back at that. And it was a lot of fun, but really the truth is once I pulled the catering out of our program, the need for that level, that volume of cheese just wasn't there, I'm sad to say. But also, an exciting thing that started to happen is that in this area, grocery stores started to stock better and better cheeses. Also around that time, we started to get better and better small markets. And so we were starting to see really nice cheeses coming to us from those venues as well. So my needing to have a case out here sort of lost its purpose. So, but I did some shopping today at just a local grocery store to kind of see what was there. And you know what was kind of interesting to me is that this book, and I am going to get into this book, I promise. This book is such a textbook, but in a great way. You're going to love it. Not in a, Physics 101 or Calc 101 way. A really nice textbook. I haven't had to exercise my cheese thinking mind in a long time. And so I was standing in front of the case at the grocery store today. I had to do a little rethinking about some things so I could pull together some different cheeses. I'm going to be doing for my podcast subscription. They're getting a 3-part cheese lesson as their November drop. So I had to really do some hardcore cheese shopping today. It's been a while, and it caused me to have to kind of, bring up a tool I haven't used in a while, I would say. Oh, I'm doing a little caffeine. Get this energy up today. Okay, the cheese primer. Let's talk about what's in it and why I love it. And I said at the beginning of this cookbook corner, we're going to cover 2 cheese books today, but this one is going to take the majority of our time. So let's get going on him so you're not here all day. The Cheese Primer by Steven Jenkins, and I want to read to you a couple things from him. I'll let you go online and look up who Steven Jenkins is, where he is, etc. About this book, I'll just do a little reading for you. Sit back with a cup of tea or coffee and let me read to you about this book. My intention is to arm you with information about cheese that will pique your interest, steer you in the right direction, and ultimately enable you to ignore the ordinary and zero in on the extraordinary. My approach is a very personal one. I'll tell you about the cheeses I adore, as well as some that I don't. I'm opinionated about flavor and pull no punches. I have an enormous respect for cheeses that are unchanging and true to their region. I am less enamored of cheeses that have become mass-produced, tasteless dairy products. So, about this book, he's going to go on here. There's a whole introduction, and I've told you guys on Cookbook Corner before, I believe very much in reading the introduction, especially when it's written by the chef or author of the cookbook, because there's going to be information in those introductions, not only maybe about their history and how they got to be where they are, why they're experts in their field, but there's going to be information on how to use the book that I think is really key. So here's another segment here from the introduction. The heart and soul of the book is a country by country and region by region description of the really worthwhile cheeses, ones available here, plus the gems that aren't. That's important if you're going to travel again, which we all will. Wouldn't it be nice to go to Europe with an actual cheese in mind that you're going to be seeking out there? Ones available here, plus the gems that are not, accompanied by information on selecting and serving each cheese. I'm going to show you this in just a minute. He is right. The heart and soul of this book, he's going to tell you what a cheese tastes like, what the consistency is, how to serve it, what to serve it with. That's helpful information. Okay. Finally, there is a useful quick reference section that includes at-a-glance buying information for what I consider the world's finest cheeses. What he's referring to here is all the way back here, the ready reference. The ready reference. This little section is hardly all the cheeses of the world. What it is, as he's just described to us, useful quick, what he considers the world's finest cheeses. So here's your ready reference of some of the best out there, okay? He's done this in alphabetical order, A, abondance. He tells you how to pronounce it, abondance. The origin, France. The type, partially skimmed cow's milk, unpasteurized. It is semi-firm and a pressed curd, natural with a brushed rind. That is inedible brushed rind. I mean, isn't that kind of cool? I think so. Availability, rare. Comes in wheels that are 14 to 18 inches in diameter and about 15 pounds. The fat content, 40%. The best brands, all are excellent. That's interesting to know. Characteristics. Firm yet supple, creamy brown crust, light yellow interior, enormous presence yet not too strong, buttery, intensely fruity and nutty flavor, fruity aroma, appropriate wines, all light and fruity reds, big whites, related cheeses, Gruyere. So if you can't find abondance and you were trying to get that kind of flavor profile for a tasting you were doing, he's giving you some related cheeses, and these you may be able to find more readily. The bottom line, magnificent, an excellent melting cheese. Think fondue. Oh, we will think fondue. So that's your ready reference in the back of the book. This book, the Cheese Primer, if this is what was published, it would still be one of my most used and beloved books in my entire collection, okay? But let's talk about what's in this big fat section in between. Here's what's in between. He breaks down cheeses by country of origin first and foremost. So you can just go to Italy and start reading about Italian cheese production, the various regions, the name-controlled cheeses of Italy. If you saw Cookbook Corner, where we talked about the cookbook Prune by Gabrielle Hamilton, at the end, I did a little teaser on Parmigiano Reggiano versus Parmesan. So name-controlled cheese, if it's called Parmigiano Reggiano, it must be from the Parma region of Italy. Parmesan, that word, do I have one of those here, a Parmesan? I do. If you see this word anywhere on your cheese, that's not produced in Italy. So they've misspelled it because Parmigiano Reggiano is name controlled. He'll go into great detail about what that means. The name controlling certification that comes from the government and the actual producers of the cheeses in various countries, why you want to look for name controlled cheeses, and how you can spot them. So great info there. Here he does a whole section on the British Isles, and it's not surprising to anyone who knows me that that's broken. The spine is broken. I've read it so many times. Stilton is one of my favorite food products on the planet, by the way. And so Cheddar, the town that Cheddar, the town that named the cheese that isn't made there. It's an interesting history about cheddar cheeses. The Stilton story, that's a really interesting one too. He covers the British Isles. He mentions that Shropshire Blue. Where was I getting a hold of Shropshire? Somebody was carrying it. Could it have been Fresh Market at one point? God, that's a delicious blue. So just really cool. All the greatest from each country of origin. And then that index in the back, you guys, it's so great. Now, I have one more page flagged, the big exclamation point on it, because I wanted to point something out. So remember in that introduction, he tells us flat out, he's going to give us his opinion. You get to have your own. One thing I'm going to say about, well, all foods, certainly with cheeses, is that we all have our own tastes. We all have our own tastes. So you're going to love some things that I don't love. I'm going to love some things that you don't love. But here's something kind of funny. Are you ready? Okay, so Cambizzola, widely available in the U.S., a very popular brand name German factory-made cheese produced by a company called Champignon that imitates both Brie and Gorgonzola. Indeed, its name is a combination of Camembert and Gorgonzola, Cambizzola. This cheese has little character, and it goes against everything I believe in. It is the result of successful marketing, not cheese making. Okay, let's take a pause here. Because Steven Jenkins, you taught me how to select cheeses, how to understand cheeses, how to teach other people how to understand cheeses. And you and I, brother, do not agree about Cambizzola. Let me tell you something. I mean, if I had to pick 10 foods that I might not really ever want to live without, Cambizzola could make the cut, y'all. It might be up there. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to think of all the cakes and all the donuts and all the steaks and all the French fries. I mean, think of all the stuff that you just think, I don't know if I can face a life without it. I mean, Cambizzola might make my list. All right, let's talk for a minute about Cambizzola. This is kind of interesting because it goes back into what you know about cheeses, helps you shop for them and pick them out. Cambizzola. So Camembert is a name-controlled cheese. That is a bloom rind, soft cheese that's produced in Camembert in France. Gorgonzola is a name-controlled cheese. It is also a relatively soft-curd blue. The Gorgonzola inoculation, the penicillin that they use to create that specific bluing, is specific to Gorgonzola. So the blue that creates Gorgonzola is not the blue that creates, for example, Stilton. They're different strains, okay? And that is name controlled. So what this German, I guess, factory owner, Steven Jenkins, but cheesemaker, did is that he got permission from the Italian government and from the French government to take a classic Cambizzola formula and Camembert formula and produce a Camembert in Germany, a classic Gorgonzola formula. And he even got permission to bring that specific bluing penicillin strain that they use for Gorgonzola out of Italy into Germany and inoculate his version of Camembert with that Gorgonzola inoculation and created Cambizzola. And I don't know if one of the things that has happened since 1996 is that that company maybe got better. Maybe he sold it and a smaller batch cheese making group got involved and improved the quality. But there is a line of Cambizzola you can find that comes in black foil, and it is called Cambizzola Black, and it is a tighter curd. So it slices ever so slightly better. It's still soft. Think about brie and camembert. Think about blue cheeses. You know, it's kind of somewhere in between those. Doesn't crumble. It's still soft, but it's sliceable, like the way pumpkin pie is sliceable, like it'll hold in a wedge, but its texture is technically soft. And that Cambazzola Black, I mean, I might go so crazy as to tell you that if I had, look, I'm not just talking top 10 foods. I mean, if I had to pick 5 cheeses I couldn't live without until the day I died, top 3, Cambazzola Black might make it, guys. Enjoy the cheese primer. I'm having some coffee. Enjoy the cheese primer. Form your own opinions about cheeses. That's what I'm here to tell you. But I would definitely use his opinions as a guide. Let him give you his reasons why he loves and doesn't love things, and then you try them and decide for yourself. Cheese primer. So the thing about this particular cookbook is that it's really not a cookbook. I'm not even sure. There are a few. I think he might have a recipe or 2 in here, but this is really a textbook on cheeses, and it is fantastic. If you love to read about cheeses, I mean, this is like get a cup of strong tea and a couple of bites of some kind of good cheese and some crackers and hang out and just snack and read and learn. You're going to love it. But if you are the person who's very visual, and I certainly am, another wonderful one that I want to mention to you is the Cheese Plate by Max McCallum. Cheese Plate. And you can already see on the cover why I might love this book. It's beautiful. Look how pretty. It's really gorgeous. I love that. I've flagged this up like crazy too. I want to show you a few things in here. Now, the Cheese Plate by Max McCallum, he also has, I'm going to get there. He has an index as well in the back. I think his index runs specifically by country of origin, the Netherlands, Portugal, Switzerland. So it's alphabetic by country of origin. So if you're looking for Swiss style cheeses, you'll go to Switzerland in the back, and then you can look up some basics like Gruyere or Appenzeller. They're listed here, and he breaks down a little bit like Steven Jenkins does, kind of some flavor profiles and milk varietals and just some specific information. Woo, that coffee's kicking in. She's getting silly. Look at this beautiful plate. Look at this. I love that. That's a beautiful way to do a tasting. If you're going to do a cheese plate like as a dessert course or a second course at dinner, just 4 small pieces and then just work your way around the plate. But this is the thing about the Cheese Plate by Max McCallum. What he's going to really talk to you about is serving cheeses. How many to serve? How do you serve them? Do you slice them? Do you put them out in a wedge? How to pick the right 3 to 5 cheeses for a tasting, so that they're not competing with each other, kind of balancing each other out, but we get to experience a few different flavor profiles, etc. So he's really, really about cheese service, both visually, how beautiful you want to make it, and what pairs well, and that sort of thing. So this is a great addition to your collection. And again, it's just beautiful. So if you wanted to just enjoy looking at it, you could. But this is your Bible. This is it. If you are ready to study cheeses, baby, this is the one you want. Steven Jenkins, and then Max McCallum, the Cheese Plate. And then the way I got to a point where there were 1,200 cookbooks in my house, there's not now. I've pared that back. Was shopping in like junk stores. You know what I mean? Like thrift shops and things like that. And finding $1 cookbooks. Man, I would just bring them in. But so this guy is from 1980. Yes, I could have bought him in 1980. I would have been young. Hello. But I could have. But I didn't. I just bought him probably 15 years ago, 20 years ago. But I got to show you guys this page that I have such a crush on. Oh, this page just sings to me. Look at this page. Look at that. Are you kidding me? Okay, first of all, I want to buy Michael those glasses that he's wearing. Aren't they the greatest? Second of all, how did the mom get those bangs to do that? I need a curling iron right now. Third of all, I want to knit all the sweaters that are in this photo. Is that the grooviest photo you've ever seen? Look at that. Look at the size of his bow tie. Can you see that? I love this picture. I have such a crush on this family. They are just too cute. 1980. I want all the sweaters. I want all the feathers. I want those funky glasses. Those are a trip. All right. But, I mean, fondue. And I will say Cheese Primer and Max Mccall both give you some great ideas about cheeses that melt well and do well for that. And then one last little book you could think about is The Food Lover's Companion. But this, you guys, is a dictionary. This is not a cheese book because this will tell you about everything. But I flagged a page so you get my point. If you really don't want to invest in an entire Bible on cheeses, the Food Lover's Companion lists a lot of the, at least maybe the top, I'd say 25 or 30 most popular cheeses. So under G is Gruyere, and it gives you the pronunciation, there it is, what it is, how it's made, that sort of thing. But this isn't a cheese book. This is just a dictionary. Right under that is guacamole. And you guys can guess what I use this for. Actually, I used to keep this at my desk, but Michael, you know, is who finishes up all the handouts and all the printed materials once I get them typed in and ready for you. And so he double checks all my spelling in the Food Lover's Companion. You know, is she sure that's how you spell Gruyere? But that's a handy little guide for that as well. Cookbook Corner, such a cheesy episode. I love it though. I've gotten all re-jazzed about cheeses. And for the podcast subscribers, your November pod drop is all about cheeses. We're going to talk milk varietal, country of origin, and presenting. So those will be your 3 videos. If you're a Gumroad subscriber, those will be there for you. But for my Cookbook Corner folks, give Cheese Primer a try. You know, charcuterie boards are such a hot item right now. We've even got a few coming up in some classes we're doing here. So I think it's a fun thing to try. And I would love to hear in the comments if you ultimately end up doing a little cheese shop in this holiday season and what you end up with. So, all right. Oh, by the way, side note, if you do know of a small cheese shop, support them. You know, that is such a specialty item. And if you are lucky enough to have that in your neighborhood, even though a lot of grocery stores are doing so much better about stocking better quality products, let's support those little guys. Yeah. The mom and pops. And I'll tell you this, if there's somebody running a cheese shop that even from the outside looks relatively small, I bet when you walk in, you're going to be stunned at how many cheeses are available. And let me tell you what, whoever is running that shop, they love cheese and they love talking about cheese and they love eating cheese. And they are going to sit there and snack off little pieces for you to munch on while you guys talk together. So get to know your local small cheese shop if there's one near you and support them. That's what I've got for Cookbook Corner today. I hope you guys have a delicious day and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Bye.